Can we start now?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
So good afternoon, we are from Group 2 and I'm Jessie and this is Nico. So today we are going to present our proposal on the open source farm. But before we start on our presentation, we would like to ask you guys one question. What do you see in this photo or in this picture? Like anyone, just any ideas can please.
Goes.
Any more?
It's a farm?
Yeah. So most probably the common answer like cows, dairy farm, like just a regular farmland. And we can see like we always view things in just one perspective, like seeing this as a regular farm, like raising animals and selling products from the farm. But Rob Dennison, the current owner of this open source farm, see things more than that. So to just provide you guys some brief information of this open source farm. This is originated from the Dennison family and it was built in 1913 in Tilburg. And it has been a dairy farm in Tilburg for like many years producing natural dairy products. But instead of just developing into ordinary farmland, Rob has been making good use of its existing resources and capabilities to create new opportunities. Like, he generated the idea of the open source farm, making it as an ideal spot for people to come over and visit and enjoy the rural life. So we can see like he's very passionate about like sharing the life of the farm with people through developing a wide range of programs, including Seeds to Meet, farmland, some educational tour for some secondary school students, and also some group activities for the corporate staff. And we can see like in Rob Dennison farmland business, caring is the core element. So we can see like it emphasizes a lot on care for the animals, care for the environment, and also enable us to appreciate the beauty of the nature. And instead of developing the farmland into just a larger factory, he chose to make it into an open source farm to allow the public to come and understand more about the animals and the rural life. So normally in the old days, like there will only be like two choices to be given, like to grow into a factory size or like to die. But Rob Dennison wants to grow but also to keep the care for the animals. Well, that's why he started this farmland, and he doesn't want to just grow just to survive in the economic market. He wants to survive as a farm without giving up the core values and also as well as to maintain his identity. So in order to propose our idea to the farm, we tried our best to keep this aligned with our proposed idea. That means that we need to grow for survival, but as well as to maintain our identity as well. And we see this farm in a different perspective, which is bigger than just a place to just produce natural dairy products. But because like we emphasize a lot, what is important is not just the dairy products, but the care. So we see this farm as a living and caring organization, and we're gonna communicate with this identity to the public and the society. So now we will have like show you guys a video about like what open source farm looks like. Like is there any like different from your expectation of that? like from the video, like the music, it deliver more of a fun and unique image, like not a regular fun, but you don't expect like children's running around and like the cows having like such fun as well. And actually our group mates had been there to have the interview with the current owner of this open source farm to know more about the background and his value as well. And we can really feel like a nice environment of this farm. And this has been a very nice interview with Rob as well, because this is to help us to deepen our knowledge in this farm before we propose our idea. So when thinking of our proposal, our first thought was like, why not targeting at people who have our own age, like around 20 years old, who don't know much about like farm life. And these are the people like around us we are most familiar with. So with this in mind, we proposed the idea of using the ideal space of the farm for the Tilburg orientation program, which is the top week. So in this proposal, teenagers or university students would be our new target group. So group activities during the top week will be held in the farmland, like the farm hunting, farm quiz, farm hackathon. So like the students not only can have fun, but also we want to like raise the consciousness of the teenagers not only on caring for animals, but also for the environment. And also let them understand like there is like such an existence of this kind of new social innovation project like adopted by this farm as well. And you guys will have a question in your mind, like wondering why we're having this like new target group, a brand new target group of teenagers and university students. So to answer this, I'm going to pass to my groupmate Mariko to talk about it, and she will also talk about the details of our highlighted event during the top week, which will be held in this open source farm as well.
Thanks, Jessie. Then I will explain the reason why our new target is teenagers or university students. We have two reasons to focus on teenagers or university students. First, we want to find a new market, and second, we want to let teenagers or university students know more about rural life and the environmental problems. First, I will talk about new markets. We are tapping into a new market. We already have a market, but try to find a new one and further promote the core value of the farm. And second, I want to talk about emphasizing on core values. Teenagers or university students often do not much about the farm life. We not only want to provide our new target group with information about the farm, but also most importantly about the core value of caring, which means caring for animals and the environment problem. The use of Top Week is a good way to better approach to our new target group, and we also try to introduce them about this kind of open source farm. For example, we will organize two activities such as farm hunting and farm quiz, allowing them to know what is rural life and the importance of the value of caring. Our new target group is teenagers or university students, so we realize that teenagers nowadays are generally activated on social media, so the best way to approach them is through a wide range of online social media such as Facebook or Instagram. More photos and descriptions should be updated on these social media regularly, allowing our new target groups keeps updated on these current events, and we also gave a lot of information about the open source farm. So now I will talk about the details of our two highlight events held in this farm during Top Week. Firstly is farm hunting. Everyone is divided into the team and they all have the same goal, which is finding the treasure box filled with bottle of milk. To reach their final goal, they got several hints after completing games like farm golf. The hints for locating the treasure box are related to the farm and the animals, so thus participants can learn about the farm life and through this activity. Second example is farm quiz. This activity is similar to pub quiz. Questions about animals and the farms are asked, and every team has to write down their answer. The team with the most correct answer wins the prize. For example, a free ticket dinner in the farm for the whole team. Joining this kind of activities, students can get to learn more about what is the farm life with a lot of enjoyment. The idea aligns with objective and core values. With doing client interview, we realized that it is important to let the society meet farm life. The concept is agri-meat design according to the client. They try to involve the society in the farm life. That is why we approach new marketing target, and we also let them know more about farm life and social innovation. As this slide shows, first we want to raise the consciousness of teenagers on caring for animals and environment. And second, we would like to let teenagers understand more on this type of new social innovation adopted by the farm. So we want to we are trying to find new market and make awareness about the value of caring and environment. Finally, we reach the conclusion. The uniqueness about this farm is that the owner cares more about the animals and the environment, and he also wants to be more than just a farm or a milk plant. So from this point of view, it is important to let teenagers nowadays learn the valuable caring element of this farm. However, teenagers may not be interested in just listening to the story of caring. This is why we created a program with instructions in this unique farm and caring topic. Teenagers or university students can play a role and learn at the same time, and hopefully they will get more insight into caring for both animals and environment. This perfectly aligns with the objective of Rob Denson developing this open source farm, which is to let society meet farm life. Teenagers nowadays are our future, and if they start learning to appreciate the beauty of nature and care for animals and environment, we believe this attitude will pay off one day. There are some references about more information, so if you search those websites, you can get more information. This is the end of our presentation. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you for listening.
And we also got some leaflet and the business card for the open source farm. So you guys, if you're interested, can just take a look.
Okay.
But meanwhile, if you guys have any questions.
Questions, please. Anyone? Yes, go ahead.
Would you go there yourself? How did you know what it is? And would you personally feel that it's something you would do?
Personally, I think it's a very nice, it's a new environment for the organization to hold the top week to there. And actually our idea is just to make good use of the ideal land of the farm, right? to have like outdoor activities. I think this would be like quite interesting to like all university students, also the teenagers to come.
But what about you yourself?
I myself quite interested because like to me I like living in like city life. I really don't know much about like the farm life or the rural life, and I'm interested to know more like how it's going to be like playing in this ideal farmland. Or I also want to know more about like how this open source farm working, this kind of new social innovation project adopted by this farm as well.
Any further questions? Well, I've got, this one. No. Well, I've got one. How do you envision the effect being of you marrying Top Week to something like this in the long run? Because you're literally exposing hundreds and hundreds of students to this phenomenon.
You mean like how can we expose them?
Well, no, but what do you see the result of this being if it were to take place over a number of years?
I think it can like run continuously because like every year there's a new batch of students coming from university, like some orientation program. So it can, in long run, can be like hold every year. So I think it's like a long-term business as well.
Oh, sure, no, but what I'm saying is in the kind of keeping our perspective on the idea of social innovation. If you look at Rob Dennison's vision of the world as he expresses it here, and if what do you think our students will walk? How will they change? In other words, by going to the open source farm?
Because like the activities that we propose like are more likely to let them understand more about the farm, like the farm quiz and farm hunting. So I think like through these activities, like the students can have more like consciousness of the farm life and like align with the caring elements of farm as well.
Yeah. Thanks. I really like the idea of this Top Week being held there, and especially if it's more than just the current Top Week being held there in a different environment, but also somehow weaving in what this farm has to offer into the activities of the Top Week. And for example, one thing that you didn't mention in the presentation is that constitution that Rob has for his farm with grab, white motor, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and the currency that he's developing. So he has kind of basic elements that are kind of the building blocks for expanding his stakeholder network, his activity network. And then if you were to bring lots of young people, many of them who won't have any experience with rural life, so it's a great setting for actually not just, because one of the things you say it's to provide them with info to let them understand. That's very much a reception mode for them to personally change. But how about the other way? Because also one thing you said was promoting the core values of the farm. So what if you see all these young people connected in all kinds of different networks? The same goes for the youth care as ambassadors, as way as going out into that society, so that actually they help to promote and grow that stakeholder network. So beyond just having a fun time there, how could all of these elements help in, what kind of things could they do going back to the real world out there for them, the real world? I'm not saying this is not the real world, but the city world out there. What could they do to become ambassadors of the open source farm and the ideas it stands for?
I think like after they joining the activities from the topic, like in the farmland, like most of the teenagers may also use all types of like social media to post like photos or videos like what they have like joined in. So it's like a way for them to like further promote this to the world, like because like the social media is a very huge online platform for them, and maybe they can also like type something on Facebook like to describe what's going on like on this open source farm to let the world know more about this. This is also one of our idea to like further promote this social innovative idea to the world. So it's kind of like acting an indirect social ambassador to like promote the core caring element of the farm.
Right, and so maybe another extension of that could be that one of the trends that you see now is that people try to do urban farming. So basically say, let's not like globally all kinds of huge amounts of produce all over the world with all the pollution and all the people that create, but let's grow our food locally. That's what Rob stands for with his farm. So what could students, for example, do in their student houses to start eating local food, start to promote it? That could also be a role that this might help. That's something to think on. But I think this top week plus would be a good idea, and then have these fun activities like quizzes. But it should not be isolated activities. It should all be somehow meshed together. And that's what really the essence of social innovation is, as you also saying with your things. It's not about all these loose things, but it's finding intelligent ways to connect them. That's what, yeah, so both cases very interesting.
Okay. If there are no further questions, then you're done. Thank you.
Ik was op een bijfeest.
So, that means that at this point in time, Team 2 is still getting rid of their stuff, and oops, I had forgotten it.